Finally, to that West Coast Wise, Same Guy, Malik Lowe, Don Bishop. Why'd you, Joe Thornton? Matter of fact, Joe Thornton, I got your email too. I gotta check on it. But I'm gonna get back to you by the end of the night with the signs with your order. Guys can see it. Boiling, I see. Smell good. 793rd. Felipe Seal. Tommy Robinson. Bishop 120. Arabi. Fine Understanding. Kane, the guy. Welcome to the channel. Before we get into it, right? I got a question I've been wondering about for a while. You ever go someplace, right? And it's a sign that's in Braille? I always wondered, how blind people supposed to see that? Or is it like some protocol where blind people know to feel in that spot where the sign is? I never understood that in the first time I saw it. Does anybody have any insight on why that might be? That you put a sign up for a person that can't see? Wouldn't that be like giving an audio signal? Like somebody's deaf and you say, yo, I'm gonna whistle when it's time. Sometimes I wonder about those kind of things. But yeah, 793, that's what I'm saying. Like generally speaking, I don't seem like sometimes I'm in the bathroom, right? And you'll see a sign that say everybody's supposed to wash their hands. You know, I'm not coming in the bathroom just feeling all over everything. You know, you said it might be the law, but that's the thing. It's not consistent. It's not in every bathroom. So that's what makes me wonder what would prompt the blind person to just feel right there. Maybe, you know what I was thinking? You know, I was thinking, uh, uh, maybe it's for people that's only partially blind. You know what I'm saying? So they can see that it's something there in Braille and they just check it out.
Goddamn, put that wood in the garbage can.
All right.
You know what?
Yeah, but if I can see, why don't I just tell the person? Khalid Kasur actually had a good, a good explanation here for those that can see, who might they might the blind person might be with somebody that can see it, and they're telling them, "Yo, the sign is right there." But here's the thing: if I see the sign, why don't I just tell you? There's a stop sign right there. You know, tell you, yo, look, feel the sign right there, and I can just tell you to stop. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But West Coast Watch said when you see a blind person, you tell them something. But that, that's an extra step. As somebody who's helped blind people before, you know what I mean? Like it was a dude that look, he used to buy DVDs. I'm not playing. The dude used to buy DVDs and he used to come back and say the movie was a good movie. Like it was clear. Hey, wait a minute. But so for a minute, I was thinking this dude not really blind. But then what happened is he came on the block one day, right? And his rhythm, his rhythm got messed up. Because they got a certain amount of steps, they got things memorized or something, maybe the sound or something. He was off for whatever reason. Because he used to come every day and go to McDonald's, right? And walk right in the door. Like no feeling around. Or this one particular day, he was off. So I just went in, so now it's a couple feet over there. I'm not going to go through the extra step of showing you the sign. But yeah, it's just one of those things that see Joe Dunn said maybe if they have a CNI dog, maybe the CNI dog is trained and recognize it and let them know. That's really that. Brother said, grew up with a brother who was legally blind. He used to wear thick specs. Even though he was legally blind, he could see shadows. If I understand, it says from my understanding, there is a universal place where Braille has to be put on signs. Yeah, but I don't see it universally. Like that's what I'm saying. Is it like a protocol that I just don't know about because I'm not a part of the community? Yeah, nah, I see what you're saying. A blind person listening to the movie is not all. But he used to come back and say the picture was good. And it's just one thing that, observation, I can't call it, but I've always wondered that. And how's a blind person supposed to see that sign? But that's a whole other topic. We're getting into the topic for today's live, living in the first days and times. I give y'all a chance to take a stab at that one of what could be the meaning of that. You always hear the flip side. You know what I'm saying? Living in the last days and times. But we could say, at the very least, like I don't know when was the origin of that type of idea, in people speaking like that. But people, not for nothing, West Coast Wise just brought up something. I did uh, hear that there was some conspiracy with Stevie Wonder wasn't really blind. And there was something that I saw where it was like, yeah, that is a little bit strange right there. Could just be that his hearing is that in tune. But they was doing a show, they was performing, and Paul McCartney walks past Stevie Wonder. And when he walks past Stevie Wonder, he hits the mic stand by accident. And Stevie Wonder catches the mic stand. Now I'm saying that's some echolocation in Marfa. Because even if you heard the stand moving, for you to reach your hand out and catch that shit exactly, But listen, could be Photoshop. I don't know. But I have heard that before, and I saw that little clip. I didn't have an explanation for that. C793 said he saw it too. It looked funny, did the 799? Again, one of the things that make you go, yeah, I wonder about that. But getting back to, I don't know when people started using that terminology or that type of idea started to be. Oh, so Stevie can see shadows. Yeah, I know. Oh man, Jack King. That's grimy. Jack King said I saw the video talking about him not being blind, but I think he handled his mustache a little different if he wasn't blind. Yeah, not for nothing. That was something that my moms used to say back in the days. And Stevie Wonder, uh, that was like her favorite artist. Like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, you know what I'm saying? And she used to always say that, like, yo, man, who the hell is dressing Stevie Wonder? Yeah, they just put him in, because he can't see. But never digression. Back to your point. Peace. Peace. I don't know how long that type of idea has been out there. That, we live in the last days and times, right? But we know that at least for the last 2,000 years, right? That's been that's the dominant idea in the Abrahamic religions. So at least for the times since that's been around, right? They've been saying it's the last days and times. But we still here. So what is the last days and times mean? And does anybody have a little insight into why this might have been named living in the first days and times? So why? So yeah, every time somebody young dies, family and friends say we're living in the last days of time. But what does that mean to them? See, check out what I'm saying. Different people have reacted differently, right? To the idea that this is the last days and times. Like, see, Jim Jones convinced those people that was the last days and times. And you see what happened with that. You understand what I'm saying? Or there was a group of people, I think they was in California, you know what I'm saying, where the dude was convinced that the world was about to end, some aliens was coming and some stuff. And so he had all these people with him and they committed suicide. Like they dressed how they wanted to be dressed when they got beamed up and they all committed suicide because of the way they understood the last days and times. There was a lot of people that went outside and did things that were stupid on January 1st, 1984, because of a misunderstanding, right, of the last days and times and of, what it meant, the devil being taken off our planet. Why is it stupid? Why is it they tricked me into believing that the year 2000 was it? I mean, listen, that's kind of what's, it informed my understanding because, we went, look, it was going to be 1999, then it was Y2K, you know what I'm saying, 2012, you know what I'm saying, then they came out and said that 2012 was actually a miscalculation. It was another day. You know what I'm saying? This is it's a part of American history, that understanding of the last days of time. I can't say that it's not the history of other places, but I'm just saying that there's something called Millerism. You know what I'm saying? And he was amongst the first people in the 1800s, you understand, when people started, the religious people started having this idea that this America is a promised land, and all this bounty and manifest destiny and divine providence, et cetera, et cetera. And they started making religions over here. You know what I'm saying? So, Mormonism, all these different religions started being formed. And a lot of them, they have that apocalyptic, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, all of them have that. You know what I'm saying? That apocalyptic, we live in the last days of time, and we're taking drastic measures for that. You know what I'm saying? But the dude Miller in the 1800s, in the early 1800s, he kept predicting that he kept saying that he calculated all the dates in the Bible or some shit, right? And he had a prediction on this day right here in this year, the world's going to be over. Jesus comes back, whatever society, Of course, it didn't happen. He was undeterred. He came up with another date. And of course, that didn't happen either. Eventually he faded away, but other people picked up that, that aspect of religion. David Koresh is another individual where you see exactly, because of people's understanding of the last days and times, right? They took drastic measures. Right, when the stock market crashed, sometimes it's not a religious thing, you know what I'm saying? But, as well, society is a kind of level of religion. You know what I mean? Like whatever society you're a part of, you have certain religious, depending on who you are, you have certain religious, certain romantic ideas about whatever it is that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like the people in other countries think their country is the greatest country in the world, the same way, Donald Trump think this is the greatest country, whatever, whoever. So, people get in a situation where they can't see their way out, and for them, it's over. It's nowhere to go from here. Right. Now that's what I'm saying, Don Bishop. The current time can always be depicted as the last days, as any believer in religious doctrine. That's exactly my point. You know what I'm saying? But if we can say that, right, what does it really mean? Yeah, the zombie apocalypse. Or see, that's Yakub science. Is that, ultimately, y'all motherfuckers gonna be destroyed. Like I'm building y'all up right now. Y'all gonna live this life. It's gonna be in luxury and all that. But look, it's gonna be a day when the jig is up. See, that's not our teachers. We don't really teach that. Our teaching is that we're gonna receive peace and happiness. Right here, right now. Or death, hell, and destruction. But right here, right now. Oh yeah, that guy, you talking about the dude that was taking the bath salts. Dude that was taking the bath salts and he ate a guy's face off. Like I'm talking about he ate his face off. Like when I first, heard about it, I thought it bit him. But now this dude's face was gone. Well, as you said, the last days and times when you're searching for a set sign, we deal with it now, which exists and useful in aiding and bringing relief to self and others. You know, but let's get into it. See, the last days and times, right, just means the completion of the ideas that we're dealing with right now. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, you know, we seeing the last days and times of certain things, like say, you know, cable TV or something. You know what I mean? Or if you was around in the 90s, right? You saw the last days and times of the beeper. You see, the science that we deal with, right, is the knowledge degree in the 140 when we dealing with time, right? And the time is being what? Renewed to history. So see, the last days and times, right, is the same exact days as the first days and times for the thing that's coming. So we might be living in the last days and times. See, there's some things you gotta understand. See, this is where a person, you can't destroy life. You can't destroy the planet. When they be saying this, what you could destroy. You could destroy the conditions on the planet that allow you to survive here. But see, we know that the renewing of the history is based on the planet Earth. So see, you would just destroy yourself, and then the Earth will what? Be renewed. So when you in the last days and times, right, you got to be focused on the first days and time of now, what's going to be manifest in this place right here, in the place of this thing right here that has gone through its life cycle. See, that's what makes somebody go out and do something stupid. Because they didn't understand that the last days and times, right, is also the first days and times. See, because just like I said, whether you're talking about the beeper, whether you're talking about the cell phone, whether you know, whatever it is, right? We see different things that have had their season. And then they season be over. Now, if you caught up, right, in the six of just whatever that thing was the manifestation of, now you're going to do something stupid. You might try to kill somebody, you might try to kill yourself. Gerald Borland said it's been going down. Vietnam was the first war of its kind, so to speak. Guerrilla war, but it was a lot of people's last days. I mean, yeah, that's yeah. Guerrilla war been around a long time. The original Mr. 120. You see, even the signs, what I'm saying, right? Ultimately, you know, I never studied it myself, but ultimately, that's what different people that I built with told me that really the science of the Mayan calendar was. When they said that it ended in 2012, that was just the last date that we put on there, just dealing with this cycle of time. And that in reality, in whatever religious, form that they had, that 2012 wasn't the first time that it was supposed to be the end of time. And things have been renewed a couple times before that. Now, of course, that's, we speak it in kind of big general terms, right? Religious types of mind states, right? But it's also about the everyday things that we do. Like, for instance, look, and I love my brothers lift, they exercise, eat right, but look, we in the last days of times for the generation from the 60s. Now, the reason why that's not going to be the last days of times for the nation, right, is because those of us that understand that this is also the first days and times for brothers who came at whatever degree after that, who have the knowledge and the power, right, to continue building on. It's the first days and times of that. You understand what I mean? Meaning, listen, I think they said it was 8 brothers. Like the rally after Allah returned, right? It was like 8 brothers or something that came to the rally. Like, there was people that thought it was a wrap. Like, that's it. That's, because they didn't understand what was taught, that he was already telling them. This is the last days for what we've been doing. But it's the first days of time for y'all to step up and do what I taught y'all. The history is stacked to the rim with people who didn't understand what the last days and times and the first days and time mean. See, remember, what would T.I. be without me? The time is not going to end me. It's what I do with my time that caused me to elevate, or I destroy myself. And this is why, well, not why, but this is a manifestation of living mathematics. See, in that cipher right there, right, in that situation where I'm explaining, there can be no zero. There's no year zero. Like, we existed, right, without a measurement, because this is what time is. Time is a measurement, right, of events occurring. And when you say the Earth makes one rotation every 24 hours, it's a measurement of that event occurring. When you say a year takes 365 years, right? 365 years, 365 days, right? That is a measurement of that event occurring. So see, from this point that an idea, right, started move from cell to cell, then that could already be measurement. That could already be measured as an event that occurred. But I'm not here. I'm not a measurement of time. I'm not a measurement of what time is doing. Like, if it's 2012, that's not just because that number came. First of all, you made that shit up. You made that shit up. The motherfucking Gregorian calendar, you made that shit up. That is, 2021, you made that shit up. That we're in the time of the Christian Lord, you made that shit up. BC, AD, all of it, you made it the fuck up. So how can that be in control of all reality? See, when you add up, where's the mathematician? We got the mathematician here. When you add up all the numbers on the clock, 1, meaning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You add all that up, what you get? Hour. Anyone? Surely you have a calculator or something. God Bill. And then when you add God Bill, what you get? Knowledge, power. And that borns 6. So which thing is you dealing with? You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, do you understand where that 6 come from? Or did you come from the 6? See, because it's something, it's things we actually have to do to not be caught up. People get caught up in the what? Time, all the time. People get caught up in the time, people get caught up in the space. People get caught up in the whole atmosphere. So now you around certain people, right? And you doing things that you would have never thought to do. These people is influencing you. Instead of you taking the 8 from their 85, they put an 8 on your 5. So see, that cannot be in control of us. We're in control of that. Because if that was the case, then we could just sit around and wait on certain dates. We could sit around and say, the 70 years grace period is past. Here we be sitting around being religious about an idea like that. or whatever it is. It don't necessarily gotta be Tommy Lizard. It was a rainbow. That's what made us decide to make our move. It was a rainbow. It was a solar eclipse. Now, of course, this has no bearing on your contributions, so that I can talk to Far and Elijah for y'all. Y'all don't want to be caught out there when the mothership comes back without a ticket. Here we go. Guys have to be mine. Try and get me banned from TV. Do we have any questions on where we are right now in terms of understanding the last days of times, the first days of times, right? And that the difference, right, comes down to what we do. That's it. That's what really makes the difference. That's what makes this story, that's what makes this story, a tragedy or a triumph. That mindset, that perspective. Meaning, let's look at something from the outside, right? Sometimes when you look at things, you get an example where you're not so closely involved, right? Let's take America, right, and the American Revolution. To the British, right? Yeah, this is the beginning of the end. Like that was one of the things that marked the last days of the British Empire. But in America, when we go to school, we don't learn it like that. We learn that this is the triumphant beginning because of how people understood what was happening, right? And because of what the people did. They go on to tell you that after this revolution, then we had all these other things that we started. The government, the economic system, whatever it is. See, time in and of itself is a master illusion. Whether something is taking a long time or a short time, it's more based on your mindset than it is the actual time. Whether somebody is old or young is more about your perspective. Like I remember, like dudes, when I'm 6, 7, the old dudes is like 17. When they come to the court, we gotta leave. Or just like you going on a trip, right? You're going on a trip. And when you going, right? You ever notice that a lot of times you go on a trip, right? When you come back, it appears to be quicker than when you was going. Especially if you didn't know, where you was going. If you don't know the route, you don't know the road, it's going to appear to take longer. Then on the way back, you'll be like, man, why you take this way? You should have took this way going. I remember when it seemed like Christmas was never going to come. Like it could be December 23rd. I'm like, God damn. I'm gonna have hair on my face by the time Christmas comes. Now it be Christmas. I didn't even realize like it's Christmas already. That's why T.I. would not be nothing without me. But like I said, do you have any questions on that? Got my cool, refreshing drink. As Reeves said, when you have a scripture that is used as a religious doctrine and is taken literally, those who control that must put on a literal display of those mythological events in order to keep the religious machine afloat. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with knowledge. For religious people, is that the the fakeness of these kind of stage mythological events. You know what I mean? Even the things that's kind of described as miracles and all of that. Yeah, right. See, Joe Thornton said, look, Joe Thornton said, if you got to go to jail next week, right? That time flies. But look, as soon as they close that cell, that shit goes into slow motion. Yeah, that's another great example right there. Oh man. But yeah, that's something that's happened. That's why religion is losing. Well, the Abrahamic religions, the religions that most been dealing with for the last couple 2,000 years, right? Knowledge is destroying. At one time they was in control of the knowledge. Now we got different. It's new type of religions out right now. Uh, Encyclopedia Brown, he's out there I don't know what the word would be. He's out there presenting facts and knowledge, you know what I'm saying, to people that, I don't want to say debunk, but it gives people, an opportunity to make an educated decision on some of these things. You know what I'm saying? Because, you got a lot of things that's out there right now, that to me fall into the kind of logical fallacy category. You understand what I mean? Things have gotten religious a lot because you have people that will say they're dealing with knowledge, right? But then when the knowledge doesn't agree with whatever this concept is that they're trying to push out there, right? Then there's a problem with the knowledge. And I'm not saying that, no knowledge was distorted, no knowledge was destroyed, no mythology was put into this. I'm not saying that, but we should be able to identify it as that. Like if that's what you said is bullshit, right? Then we should be able to identify it. If you're saying that, they saying that like you got Dutch people, right, that feel like, we the indigenous people of South Africa. We indigenous here. And we've been here long enough, a lot of these other motherfuckers that's here, they migrated here after we got here. Right? Now, what we could do, right? Now, what they say, it has some logic to it. But we can prove it's a fallacy. The history is clear, the archaeology, whatever, when you take it to the primaries. But just everything that we don't understand from the jump, right? And then we just decide, without having another answer. Because once we do that, then we slip back into religious. You understand what I'm saying? Religion is a mindset. Like, yeah, there's physical things, right? That's called, not physical things, there's real concepts, real ideas that have physical manifestation. We see churches, we see crosses, we see people going to church on Sunday, right? So yeah, that's religion. You see, religious is a mindset in the way how you look at things. You see what I mean? This is the same way as 5% is a mindset in how you look at things. You see what I mean? So we can take any event, right? And once we start to apply ourselves, right, in a way, once we start to apply ourselves in our way, when we, like, it's just what I'm saying, right? YouTube is just YouTube. But see, when I come on YouTube, I apply my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and so this becomes, that's the guy's page. That don't make YouTube the science of God or, like this is the rally here. But whatever I do, right, is going to be a 5% thing because I don't really got another way to do things. It's like if I walk someplace, I'm going to use my feet because I don't got another way to walk. Well, I mean, theoretically, you can walk in your hands, but that's going to be limited. So by the same token, a person who is religious, right, will make whatever they're doing religious because they don't have another way to do things. Alito said that they can control the narrative. I mean, yeah, well, they uh, definitely can control the narrative. You know, uh, right now, a lot of what I'm seeing right now is what I always identify on the station, right? Is that you still have these religious mindsets, right? And so you're still looking for this miraculous thing. And so any group of people that comes to tell you that we have the magic book, you know what I'm saying? Like, the reality is that, we're this group of people right here and they've been concealing it from us. The reality is if we eat this diet right here, we'll be able to levitate, and you still going with all this miraculous stuff, magical white man that live in the sky stuff. Like that's your idea of reality, that these magical, miraculous occurrences, right, is a part of reality. See, that's not a part of my reality. Do some great things happen, right, that I may not have anticipated? Yeah. Do some great things happen, right, that I don't have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to know how it came about, right, and why it was manifested like that. But the idea that makes it, the product of magic is something else. Like to most of us, what's inside our cell phones is mysterious to us. You don't know what it is. But that doesn't make it magic. There's measurable, traceable, what you call that? We're able to repeat the outcome. Science involved with that. There's people, you can trace the people, the places, the names, the dates, when people invented different things, right? That they combine together in that technology of the phone. You see, right now, let's say, right, and I'm doing it now myself, right? We know that this could never happen, but I'm just saying theoretically, right? If you took a cell phone back to the 1500s, back to the 1300s, where people didn't have, they think you was God. But it would, you would be able to, you could definitely become at least a pope. But that's because the people mindset, anything that they didn't have the knowledge, wisdom, or understanding to be able to explain, right? They put to being religious. Well, yes, okay. But Joe Thornton makes a point. It wouldn't be cell towers if we went back to that time, right? It wouldn't be electricity. We wouldn't be able to charge the phone. We look at all the things that make that not possible. You know what I'm saying?
We in the baby. Be cold.
Say you throwing the garbage, man. You should bring it in.
We good. You still good.
If it's still good, you take it.
Yeah, right.
Then it ain't good. You give it to me for if you don't want it.
Yeah, I'm playing in the I said, yeah, I'm giving it to me.
West Coast Wise, yeah, that's actually, I was waiting for a little more information about that to come out. But yeah, New York is, they balking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like they haven't said, they haven't reversed a whole bunch of stuff yet, but they say that the healthcare workers, you know what I'm saying, Christopher Goody, they would say that the healthcare workers already have to take the test, or they have to take the vaccine, or they have to get tested every week. You know who probably know more about it? Don Bishop, because he worked for the government. See what I'm saying? So whatever's, I think certain jobs, you work in the airport, stuff like that. But what I saw on the news is that they trying to extend it out to other municipal workers. You know what I'm saying? They were saying that they might bring the mask back. But look, see, the difference is this time, I'm not on point. I told you back in like March, when people started heavily taking the vaccine, that's when I realized the full power of that idea. You know what I mean? The amount of change that they was able to bring about, you know what I'm saying, that they wanted. You understand what I'm saying? Was phenomenal. And the things that occurred that, everything that it was going on, it kind of obscured that in terms of, like when we talk about the 13th degree and the 1 to 40, they continue daily throughout the lockdown. You understand what I'm saying? So you'll see, for instance, right? Saying Bill Gates, Bill Gates too, but not as much. Saying Jeff Bezos, Tesla, they caked off. Some of them caked off more in the pandemic than they did the whole rest of the time. But we're not even thinking about that because this thing right here is so urgent right here in front of our face. But they don't get that kind of stuff past me. Right, yeah, that's it. Look, and that's, you hit someone in the head right there. Where when we say, okay, what's the degree of change now that you're trying to bring back? What are you trying to do? You know what I mean? So like you said, now it's this thing where everybody who's unvaccinated, right, is supposed to be, the people that's getting a new variant. So, is that like a move to, kind of lock in some of this change? You understand what I'm saying? Exert another level of control. Because see, now we got to be in your business. Because I can't tell if you just walking down the street, right, whether you had the vaccine. So there's got to be some way that you're going to be getting deeper in our business. Thurman said, I heard the same about colleges, at least down here at NC State. If you have not been vaccinated, you have to get tested weekly. Yeah, that's what it's, you know, people might receive the booster shot for their death. Well, I think that's already happened. But yeah, it's definitely not a good sign. Um, uh, but between that and here in New York, you know, we got a new mayor coming in. I think it's going to be bad news. So we'll see how that works out. Definitely not. Hoping it don't get to the level. You know, where it did last time. That got crazy. But it's definitely in the papers today. You know, how this variant might but yeah, you know, I guess we had a good class too. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have any questions about the science of you know, the last days and times also being the first days and times. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where you know, there's knowledge in there in terms of time, you know what I'm saying, and how we deal with time, right? But don't let it be lost on you that the real lesson today, right, is that time is what you make it. You know what I'm saying? You meaning, not just how you accept what's going on. You know, that's you got that kind of new age idea. You know, that if somebody shoots you, it's not that they shot you, it's how you look at how they shot you. Nah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's like I said, it's not just about how you accept what's going on around you, right? But what you do to cause what's going on around you. That's the real signs of T.I. wouldn't be nothing without me. It's just what I'm saying. West Coast Wise said, do 40 billion in 1 year. Like Elon Musk made more money than he had before. Like he more than doubled his money during the pandemic. Now let's see the question about the end of time relating to depopulation. For me personally, all of that depopulation, when you're looking at Bill Gates and the things he's doing, that's inherited from David Rockefeller. And that was where I first started hearing that, the humane thing to do is we have to stop population growth. One of the problems is that, y'all made predictions that the world wouldn't be able to feed itself years ago. But that whole thing that we have to control, now I'm gonna say it in my way. You understand what I mean? We need to control these people in the third world. We don't need more of them than the supply of labor that we require. So of course, depopulation is going to be related to eugenics. But I'm telling you, all of that stuff goes together. David Rockefeller was the person, and you gotta remember, with these rich people like this, they in the same organizations. They went to the same schools, you know what I'm saying? And so you got a rich guy that's like a mentor to the new rich guys that's coming up. You received an email saying LA and New York City plans to require vaccinations or weekly COVID tests. And who'd you get this email from? I mean, it's got to be some condition because I don't know how they gonna test me out. But you know what they do is they make the social benefits. They structure the social benefits so that if you don't cooperate, you can't receive none of the benefits. You know what I'm saying? Right. We know that LA plans to require vaccines. I'm saying you talking about for the whole population or for city workers? Yeah, see, that's urged. Mayor Bill de Blasio. Another thing name ain't even de Blasio, but Bill de Blasio urged on Friday that New York City's private businesses require their workers to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been bubbling through the surface, but for them to come out and say all 8 million people gotta have it, you know what I'm saying? Now you gotta come to our house. She said, it must be breaking story. All right, yeah, this says 43 minutes ago. So yeah, I guess this is and you guys don't even be working this time of night. I don't know what they doing, saying something like that. So New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said New York City's rules apply to all municipal workers, including the Department of Education, NYPD, and the FDNY. The mandate is expected to begin September 13th. So yeah, like I said, that's about if you want your gig, you gotta like I said, if you want your gig, if you want that social benefit, then you'll have to cooperate. You'll have to cooperate with that, I mean, look, like I said, I told you I was coming back. There's no way that something was that successful, you know what I'm saying? And they're not gonna run it back. Yeah, de Blasio, you can't really pay him too much money. He's not like that. You said Seattle isn't looking good. What's going on? What's happening? What's that? And what aspect is not looking good? Now it's born. Tell you this much too, Wise, that I looked at. In my opinion, you're lining it up just in time. Because remember, once September and October hit, right? You're gonna have a whole bunch of people getting the cold and flu anyway. So just like that happens, just like last time, once that happens, you know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, all of those people, that's what happened. Oh, the numbers for people getting that, yeah, that's what they say. The numbers is rising everywhere. At the very least, it's something you had to live with for a while. Like remember the color codes after 9/11? Like The sky should be orange or it'd be yellow. That's just gonna be an aspect that, for going forward for a minute.
Yeah, I'm out of that, yeah.
Now July came in, 9/11 was the end of times for certain things. After that, airports were locked down with the top flight security. Yeah, you're right about that. That we don't think about it now. And think about this. There's people, right? Like say my daughter that just graduated from college. This how they get you. This how they get you. You got people, right? Like my daughter that just graduated from college. She don't know that it ever was a different way. I'm saying that happens to all of us. That we come into the mix of something that happened maybe right before we was born, right? Or while we was very young. And so we hadn't experienced that thing yet. And by the time we get to the experience, we like, yo, this is just the way it is. But yeah, you're right about that. That was, it's especially here in New York. Like certain things we never saw before. Like look, in terms of the cameras, now I know it's cameras everywhere, around the world. But that was the event that they used to, put the ring, like if you go certain areas in New York, it's like a ring of cameras where you cannot enter or exit that area without getting caught on camera. You know what I'm saying? The NYPD has a particular unit that they ride around, they cars say Homeland Security on it. There's a couple of things that spelled the end. We got alarm magnetic mic. But yeah, this is probably it's bigger than 9/11. You know what I'm saying? The amount of loot that they spent on it, the amount of people that passed away, the duration, you know what I mean? Like the what's the name? It was an impact, and then a couple of hours later, everything was everything. You know what I mean? But with this is like ongoing. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever money they spend on that war, they spend more on this right here. Complete said after 9/11, they sent 6,000 soldiers to the NYPD. That's what I'm saying. They became from Quantico. Yeah, those ain't really soldiers. Quantico, they pretty much special forces or secret agents. Katrina didn't really, Katrina had a huge impact, but it didn't change. It wasn't like the transit started saying that they had some stuff they was going to do to ensure that the system didn't get knocked out again. You know what I'm saying? But nothing, it wasn't like, well, you can't be over here no more. You can't be over there no more. You know what I'm saying? So now it didn't have a kind of permanent impact like this. There's other, look, the Cross Bronx Expressway, is one of the most major impacts of anything that happened in New York City. You know what I'm saying? But Katrina didn't really, plus like with something like Katrina, right? It's like that happens like once every 20, 30 years. So that's the Marines in Quantico. Yeah, I knew Quantico, that's not the regular, that's not West Point. And I know Quantico also, there's some intelligence stuff out there in Quantico. Like the NSA or somebody like that might be out there too.
Okay.
Oh snap! You know what's messed up? Yeah, I said Katrina, and in my mind, in my mind, I was thinking Sandy, which is the hurricane that came up here. Oh yeah, Katrina. Oh yeah. But that's a different city, so I don't know. I can't. I wasn't all that familiar with what was going on in New Orleans before to say, okay, these are the things that's no longer the same. You know what I'm saying? Like in New York, I can say for sure that, yeah, we never had soldiers walking up and down the street with machine guns. All right, yeah, Joe Thorne said, yeah, the FBI is, yeah, I knew it was some intelligence stuff going on down there. You don't want to play around. Like, I don't think you can, like, if you turn onto the road of Quantico, they're gonna need to holler at you. Yeah, they bombed the Trade Center the first time in maybe 1995, something like that. Yeah, definitely. West Coast Wild said San Francisco and Houston were affected by Katrina. We had some people up here, but with New York, the population is so big that I think a lot of those people didn't stay. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you're talking about a place like Houston, their culture is going to be much closer. Yes, I mean, like if you're a person that you liked it in New Orleans, you might not like it in New York. Yes, what I'm saying? But Houston, but I recall when Katrina first happened, and it was being a lot of static in Houston. You know what I'm saying? You know, for a lot of different reasons. And I remember specifically, it was something going on where the mothers was fighting up at the schools every day. Like they was fighting, you know, first of all, because it's new kids and, you know, all these different troubles that started. But it's also that the parents in Houston was saying, yo, wait a minute. We just asked y'all for some more money for the schools. And y'all told us y'all ain't have it. But now all of a sudden, you got all this extra money for these cats from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? You know, and that's just one aspect of it. But yeah, that, you know, absolutely. I heard about that. Oh, that was so 1993 was the first time they bombed the World Trade Center. Uh, I mean, it wasn't successful in that they didn't bring the towers down. You know what I'm saying? But they blew a hole in the basement. You know, people came out of there. They had that soot and everything where the air soot is so thick that when you breathe it sticks on your face with a. Yeah, Port Authority, 793rd, right? Port Authority be full of soldiers. It just, yeah, I'm talking about, look, there's streets that you can't, like streets that used to be through streets where you can drive straight from the east to the west. You can't go through there no more with cars. Find truth. But see, that's what I keep saying for every one of these events. And that's what I mean when I say, look, is this the last days and times or the first days and times? So remember in the election where I was like, yo, listen, man, what's going to, like these people got elected. Now, what's the plan for how we going to deal with it? You know what I'm saying? What's the plan and how we going to get the benefit, right, of having being a main difference maker in how the current administration is ended. You see what I mean? But if your mindset was just that, look, it doesn't matter because it's the last days and times of Trump, and we're just celebrating that. We're not thinking about what this is going to be the first days and times of. Got the divine truth when with that Miss Crusade. Uh, today is we was building on living in the first days and times and understanding that the last days and times and the first days and times is actually the same days. But it's a matter of your perspective. You understand what I'm saying? It's a matter of what you're going to do. Are you going to die, right, with everything that's not able to make it to the next Quran? Or are you going to renew the history by laying down the foundations for the next Quran? That's the difference between whether if you live in the last days of time and the first days of time. It's really about you and what you do. In the sense that we've been around the world, you know how we do here. Can you name an event of the last 30 years that was on the same level as those two 9/11 and Katrina in regards to, well, like I said, I would put COVID over both of them. You said, well, 30 years, you shortened up the time on me. So you talk about 1990. Since 1990. I want to say, I'm going to put the Oklahoma City bombing up there. Now, with the Oklahoma City bombing, here's the thing though. It didn't change things around me. Yes, I mean, but this kind of publicity of these far right wingers, violent, we have to, deal with them a certain kind of way. There was a dude that got killed. And I think they killed his wife too. And he was going around, he was like bombing abortion clinics and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And he was the first that kind of, they got a name for them, but like those dudes, militias up in there in Seattle, where you at, Wes? Between that dude, I think it was called Ruby Ridge, and the Oklahoma City guy, that kind of, like these kind of things, these, events and everything, when they were showing up, that had kind of died down. You know what I'm saying? And these dudes was like heroes. They was like beacon calls, you know what I mean? Dudes that had gave their life for this cause. They became martyrs amongst those people. You understand what I'm saying? And so you see a lot more of that now. Not around, they not gonna be in Brownsville, they not gonna be in Harlem. But when I look at the news or whatever, I see the impact of them. I see the younger people who grew from that, right? Columbine shooting, yeah, all of those things, but that's not around me. You know what I mean? It's just like right now with the present dope epidemic. That's not around me because the people who's doing it, I'm not in that community. Yeah, Rudolph, that was the dude's name. See, now if we go back 50 years, right? So now we going back to 1970. Yeah, we got lots of things. Things that don't always like they didn't register a blip, but when you really measure the impact. And you know what's one of the differences, right? I found this out a couple of years ago. I didn't know this growing up. But in like 1980, they came out with the Federal Department of Education. And so a lot of things that if you above a certain age, you like, yo, when I was in school, man, they didn't try and teach us nothing like that. When that happened, that if you was born after a certain time, you don't realize it, but they've been planning this education that you got about all this other stuff since then. Yeah, Reaganomics. Reaganomics was here. I would put Reaganomics up there. You know, Reaganomics, yeah, you might have to put Reaganomics actually in the category that's over them. Like you had to put Reaganomics up there with COVID because remember, Reaganomics was exported around the world. You know what I'm saying? Crack is Reaganomics. And the dudes down there and fighting in Mexico, that's when they got their bread up. Like, you know, is you could look all around the world and see the impact of Reaganomics. You know, it didn't have the immediate that impact of, you know, a plane ran into the building. You understand what I'm saying? But the overall effect of it, you know what I'm saying? Like that plane can really only affect that building. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Reaganomics, you know, we still living even with, you know, his proteges, you know, that's still pretty much pumping his ideology on economics. Until I said 1990, I was hanging with a dude from Chicago. Nas and Wisdom Seeds taught more than the institutions at that time and place. Absolutely. The space shuttle launch. Yeah, you're talking about the one that crashed. You're talking about Challenger. Yeah, I recall that was one of the things. That was one of the things. I was in junior high school too. I can't remember what grade, but I do recall that that was the first thing for me that came on TV that I was like, oh snap, that's crazy. Was uh when Reagan got shot because cartoons ain't come on that day. I wasn't feeling it. Like that's where I noticed we came in the house and the news was on. And it's like, wait, this is not right. You know, soap opera was supposed to be on, and then I watched Tom and Jerry and Batman. So I knew something was wrong, and my physical said Ray got shot. And then that was the second thing. Same thing. Came in the house, and I'm walking through the living room to get to my room, right? And at the corner of my eye, I see this thing blow up. So it's like, so I had to stop, back up, and look like, wait a minute. Yeah, that was something. Uh, you know, I don't know about what was the long-term impact of it. You know what I mean? I guess maybe some of the long-term impact of it is that dudes like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and the other dude from England is doing space now. I don't know. I can't say for sure. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was more people. Like I'm not saying that it was invented right then, but in the late 70s, early 80s, serial killers start getting some kind of popularity. Like I said, I don't know. It could have always been happening, and maybe it just wasn't coming on the news. But yeah, that, you know, from whenever it was Son of Sam, uh, Atlanta Child Murders, the kid from the dude from America's Most Wanted, they kidnapped him and chopped his ear off and sent him to his mom's in a shoebox. Uh, that kind of formed the world that, you know, if you below us, if you after the latchkey generation, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, yeah, we was free for all. Now you got the helicopter parent generation came from that. You know, that's something that had a huge impact around me, where it's like, yeah, one day I'm just going outside. And then the next day it was like, yeah, where you going? Work, I make sure you be there. Don't go. You know what I'm saying? That changed. You know, I think that's pretty serious. Uh, you know, there's some things that they wasn't small. They like I said, it's not a bomb hitting or a plane hitting or what's it. But listen, uh, the hostage situation in Iran, right? Now I know it seemed, but listen, that led up to crack. Remember, the crack thing was the Iran Contra situation, and that's where it came from. When they had that revolution over there, they kidnapped a whole bunch of people from the State Department or something like that, from the embassy or whatever, that over there in Iran. You know what I'm saying? And trying to fight that battle, right, was how crack came up. Well, that's how, you know, that's how I got to certain places. Um, I mean, do individuals count? But I guess that's still the late 60s. But you know, your Jeff Forts, your uh, you know, my man from the Starry Crips out there in LA, you know, those things, you know, reverberate through the decades. And lots of things I don't think it's you know, we had to really, that'd be a whole show. Like I would have to sit down and make a list of things that you know, I saw bring about a high degree of change. You know what I'm saying? Where after that, the world is different. You know what I mean? Kids don't go play 30, 40 miles from home. You know, like, you know, I'm going to Coney Island, these kind of places, you know, kids don't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? Uh Elijah Muhammad returned. Kid Elijah, y'all know how I feel about Elijah. I put Elijah up there. Hmm. Yeah, it's funny that way because it was other things, right, that had a huge impact at the time, but it didn't really lead to that much. Like for instance, you know those child proof, tamper proof uh tops that came from some lady was trying to kill her husband, right? Because she was trying to disguise it by saying she bought some bad aspirin, like some bad Tylenol or Excedrin or some shit, right? So she's calling the people, telling them, yo, I got this bad batch. You know what I'm saying? So it ended up being a long time before they found out what her little scheme was. But that's what those, well, you know, but that way, you know, that's not, it's like I said, it didn't, it had a bigger bang. It was on the news more than Reaganomics, but it didn't have the reach of Reaganomics. Yeah, that'd be a never ending conversation. We gotta cut that. That's almost a rabbit hole. Ed Gein? I didn't know you know about Ed Gein, son. Ed Gein is listen. Ed Gein is the master. Police said the Star Wars program has turned to Cyber Force 93 93 crime bill. You said you just received dividends from your stock in New York mortgage. I would advise you to pull out. The New York real estate market is in a huge bloated bubble. Uh, and, especially with it, we're not giving stock advice here, but see, what happens with that mass stuff, right, makes that very volatile. Because here's the thing. Right now, they're getting ready to open the city. When they open the city, see, New York, right? And I'm sure Seattle, any big city, where people come there straight out of college, they can charge those people anything they want. Like they can take a crack building, right? Paint it and have some young college kids come in and pay $10,000 a month for the same thing that was a crack house 6 months ago because they don't know. They're willing to pay whatever the rate is. What I'm saying is that without those people pushing up the market, it's going to crash. So what I'm saying is if they don't do the math, right, and these people don't come back from Connecticut and Long Island and all these places that they move to, then you're going to see the New York real estate. If the people don't come back, the other businesses don't open up, the restaurants and the drugstores and everything that service these people, you know what I'm saying? Right now, all of that was a part of the New York market. Is that New York was 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? And so it just was a whole, like at one time, before Giuliani, they were saying that the nightlife in New York represented 1/3 of the economy. You know what I'm saying? But now that you got all this vacant space and time when things is not really in use, all of that is what boosted the price. Because you get 24 hours getting money. You could afford that. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why my advice to you would be, look, you got that dividend, quit while you're ahead on that. Yes, AD and BC. After dope, before crack. Hmm. We talking about the space shuttle crashing. I mean, it wasn't that's colored people is that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell you another thing that if you was in New York, it was a huge thing. You know what I'm saying? But it was one of those games where I was like, I didn't know this nigga was still alive. When John Lennon got shot, I didn't know he still was alive. But man, you couldn't even watch TV. I don't think cartoons came on there either. But right here, Ed Gein was the first major, serial killer, or whatever. And, but that was just in the 50s. You know what I'm saying? But that stuff is something that proliferated out in my mind in the 70s, where, like you said, you got Gacy, you got, Sutter said, it starts getting crazy. And like I said, I don't know, because, no, matter of fact, Ed Gein is not the first major one. It's that dude from Texas. It's a dude from Texas, used to work in the post office. He went to the top of the tower at the University of Texas and just started taking people out. Yeah, all that stuff, that stuff, it changed life for kids, man. You know what I'm saying? It changed, places where people didn't lock their doors. Like it was still places like that in New York City, not at the Center Sand. And then once crack hit, oh man. Uh, Rich Porter, that was a little bit later. And that was something that was like a city thing, but even with that, that wasn't bigger than Larry Davis. Like the biggest street thing from that era would have to be between that cop, two police got shot around that time. A kid shot a police in Central Park. I'm pretty sure his name was McDonald. In fact, that kid was from the same block as the Central Park Five. I don't know what their relationship was. He probably knew them. You know what I'm saying? That's when New York police start militarizing. Between that and that police that got shot in Jamaica, Queens, that's when the guns, like they went from having, 38s to 9s. They went from certain bullets was illegal to this shit is department issue. Where Rich Porter's brother wasn't, Larry Davis too. Larry Davis, man, they turned New York City upside down looking for Larry Davis. Right? 793rd said in the movie said that Spike Lee was talking about how the youth, was a different type of thing. Like, Son of Sam, like before that, right? You was going home because of the street light. Like I still was at that age then. Street light come on, you come upstairs. You start going home because you didn't want Son of Sam. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you was down. You was like because you said you were stationed in Central and South America. You said like during the time that the Contras was down there, like when Nicaragua and all that was going on? Yeah, no, Ed Gein is everybody. Like every serial killer from the movies is Ed Gein. Psycho is Ed Gein. Uh, Michael Myers, Jason, they're all Ed Gein. Leatherface, they all got little pieces of his story is what those characters is based on. West Coast West said we are on an eviction moratorium. Once it lifts, a whole bunch of people will be homeless. I mean, look, that's pretty much going to happen here as well. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, the whole housing court was closed, you know, for the last since it's been a pandemic. So yeah, that's another thing that's coming down the pipe. Yeah, I remember that complete. That was grimy to me though, when they came out with that new meaning for NASA after the crash. Yeah, now I was born. Yeah, the dude. That's something I found out. Now I was born. Now I was born said so. He was really the first to go postal. I didn't go into that, but that's why I mentioned that. That people in the post office been wilding out. Oh yeah, how did I forget about that guy? The guy who uh the dude that killed all those people in Las Vegas, he took the record from this dude that went in the McDonald's and sprayed the whole thing up out in California somewhere. That was like, it was just things that was happening where it was like, yo, your parents was like, yo, nah, man, you got nah, you can't go there. You know what I'm saying? Things just definitely took a shift. Yeah, Eddie Byrne. When Eddie Byrne got killed out there in Queens, listen, the reason black people get RICO is because of that case. Everybody that got hit with a RICO charge for some black crimes, that was a mafia charge that started with that case. Yeah, as Reeves said, it was killer clowns riding around snatching up shows. Yes, that's right. Yeah, that'd be crazy. And when did some people scared of clowns? I just always wonder how they all fit in that car. Oh my word, Now I Was Born. I hated that commercial, Now I Was Born. I hated that commercial. Now I Was Born, listen, around that time, it was these commercials that would come on TV, right? And the commercial would say, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? And I'm like, yo, don't make them think like that. Don't make them think. I hated that commercial, man. Oh man. You brought up the memory right there. That's back when it was Five Alive, for Fox. So West Coast Wise said Queen's brother owes 10,000 in rent. He decided not to pay it, even though he was working because of the moratorium. Now look, in New York, that's going to present a problem. Like when the time is up and you don't got the money, right? And they like, yo, you was working. So my thing is, it was a good opportunity, right? To say, like, I don't know what his finances is, but look, if you save the 10K. Because see, that's what a lot of people are gonna be doing. You got a lot of people that's like, yeah, I didn't pay you. Especially look, if you're talking about New York rent, where look, a person can have, if they save their rent since the beginning of the pandemic, first guy had 30, 40, 50,000 easy. Easy. Take that, get a house. Complete shot travel to Honduras, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, Peru to do counter narcotics, drug interdiction. So question, when y'all was doing it, right? Do y'all know that y'all working against the military? Like, do y'all know that, you know, the reason they get this shit is because other dudes on our team too? Or, you know, is that just, it came out later? As Reed said, once you're in the post office, you got a job for life, basically. So when they actually lost some joints, they go bananas. I don't know what it is. Because look, did you know Son and Sam work at the post office too? Something going on in the post office. That guy, the dude that shot up the McDonald's, worked at the post office. Oh, you talking about pics and I was born. Yeah, hey, listen, man, you talking about pics? I used to always wonder, man, how you get on there? I knew like one person that was on there, but I never could figure how the hell you get on there. I wanted to play. Nah, that was something. See, you gotta remember with the mafia running New York, see, that's kind of what's unique about that 60s generation is they kind of broke out, you know what I'm saying? Like the older generations, in order for you to be a gangster in the street, right? You had to have one of those mafia dudes back. So you had a dude, he moving drugs, but he's really moving them for the mafia. You know what I mean? You running numbers, but the bank is really the mafia dudes. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not, you know, it's not all this stuff out here like, you know, back then. You know what I'm saying? Or like now, wasn't all that stuff back then, I'm saying. But see, once you get to that generation with what's my man name? The dude that disappeared, that they made the movie Black Caesar. You know, once you get to them dudes, they like, man, fuck all that cracky shit. You see what I mean? And by the time I came around, the niggas knew. They had their own, you know, and then yeah, I remember too, in terms of me personally, right? The 80s was like that was the last days and times for them. Really, like if you look at the movie The Godfather, they did to them, the 70s is the last days of time. Like that's the last time they had power. Like shit started happening in the 80s, people snitching, bosses getting killed, you know, shit where, you know, so they wasn't, they had their own problems. You know what I mean? Giuliani was after them. Yeah, look, I tell people that all the time, complete. That look, it used to be a time, right? That TV used to go off. And you know how right now you look at cable just all night long, if they ain't got to show you, they just show you the rerun. Nah, son. At like 4, maybe 5, about 3 something, 4 o'clock in the morning, TV went off until about 5:30. And then the news started coming back on. But depending on the channel, some channels went off because it used to be back then, it used to be the late show, and then the late, late show, and then the late, late, late show. And then after that, TV went off. Next day it'd be the news. Was because why I said you could use the money that you save from not paying your rent to get a house, but they're gonna sue you for the money. Sue me. Kasib Shah, Shavard Jones from Taft Projects was the guy who shot the police officer in Central Park, right? He lived a block away from the Central Park 5. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that's when, listen, the first thing, right? Because the cop in Queens got killed. The dude in Central Park, he got paralyzed. And he used to be, I'm gonna tell you where everybody seen him. I'm gonna tell you where y'all seen him. Him and the dude that got shot in the head with Reagan. When Reagan got shot, one of his aides got shot in the head. And him and that cop started the modern gun control shit. Like they was the first that I recall, you know what I mean, colored people that was coming out against, because you gotta remember the whole NRA, that station. These are the first dudes that I seen coming out from that. But yeah, you know, that was the first thing was all officers at that point got mandated they had to wear a bulletproof vest. Before that, you wear it or don't wear it. Kadir, you alive and divine understanding born working the post up? Thanks for telling me. Stay the fuck away from divine now. Yeah, Frank Matthews. That's what I'm saying. That Frank Matthews, Nicky Barnes, all them dudes. It's like, dude, I'm getting more money than you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not working for you. You know what I'm saying? So in general, in the black world, that's just something that appears to have happened with that generation that came before me, is they started breaking out, you know, the more of us that, you know, the migration is happening. So we starting to be born out of the South. You know what I'm saying? And we don't really know that fear. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, nah, I never, they was never around a little while. As Reed said, when I was at the post office, there was a party in the station until time to hit the streets. It was sweet. Yeah, that's right. We wanted to, man. So you see a motherfucker, look, you see somebody like this time right now, like 9 at night, bringing the mail. We like, oh, hey, look, with regular clothes on, he even got the uniform on. I don't know what's going on down there. Somebody needs to talk. Somebody needs to talk to them about that. Yeah, Freedom Williams at 5%. All right, hold up. Y'all want to go back? 7:30 and 9 in the morning, they trying to go back. Listen, this is, you go back, saying. Do y'all remember when the remote control had a wire on it? Remote control had a wire and it was connected to a box, right? And it was like a typewriter or something, where if you wanted to watch the channel, you had to press it down and it clicked. And you know how you click one thing and then whatever else is down, it comes up. And it just had different buttons from one to how many other channels you had, but it was a wire that connects to TV. That's pretty big too, son, the remote control. Like that shit be coming, like whatever Christmas that was, when the price on them shits dropped. That's how I got color TV. Before that, wasn't that much TVs like that. Like now you go to the house, he got 7 flat screens, I see my son, he's sitting there like he's in motherfucking Quantico, Virginia or something. He got TV over here, he watching the game. The TV over here, he playing the game. The TV over like it's But now back then, you didn't have no TV. It used to be, they had the floor models then. So the living room always got the floor model. That's not moving. Then your parents, they got, a TV that they keep in the room. And then my mom's a lot of times they have a little like 10, 12-inch TV that she keep in the kitchen with her while she cooking and talk on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Watch that story with me. You know what I'm saying? Now, when she wasn't cooking, you could bring that little 10, 12-inch one in the room. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever year that was, like almost everybody's house you went to, they parents got a brand new color remote control TV. So when they got that TV, you got the old TV that they had in the room before. So that's how you got color TV back then. At least in the room. It was no video game. Yeah, that was a big thing. Right, Edward Green said a lot of their power came from controlling the ports, but exactly, you gotta remember, with they're controlling the unions, they're controlling the docks, all of that shit started to disappear. Nobody's working at the docks in the 80s. Not that I knew of it, all that shit, because you gotta remember, one of the reasons the docks is there, right, is because you got all these factories in New York at that time. Once all that shit got outsourced to everywhere else, you understand what I mean? There's what's going off the docks. They last stronghold they had was the fish, the South Street Seaport. If you go all around the piers now and the docks, it's condos out there. But yeah, WHT. WHT was the shit for years. National Geographic and WHT. Household products that changed the game since I was born. Probably computer. Yeah, see, 793rd, know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, see, first of all, back then, see, this is what I'm saying. This is how old people didn't play with electricity like that. And you're not going to be in this house no 10 hours straight playing on no fucking electricity in no old people house. That's like the motherfucker was born before 1955. Motherfucker, turn that shit off. West Coast Wild, I think I add that on too. It wasn't invented. A lot of things, they wasn't invented, but the price came down to where they were common in households. Air conditioning. Like even that, I'm not going to sit in the house in the summer and play no video games, no hours and hours, man. It's 8,000 degrees in here, man. Like, hey, that's something, different things. Like back in the days, you couldn't really go in the refrigerator like that. Like if you went in the kitchen, they said, what you going there for? Put something in that refrigerator? They close the refrigerator door. That was true. So yeah, it's quite a bit that's different, man. Touching the thermostat, better not be even looking over there. Oh man, forget about the phone. Forget about the phone. The bill wasn't really that high. Oh yeah, long distance was high. Completely right about that. But them phone bills wasn't really that high. They used to be paying like $15, $20. But if it get to like $22, that's sky high. Look, put a lock on that phone. Listen, you go ahead and collect. This better be an emergency. Well, yeah, the refrigerator definitely is, in the history of household items, but that wasn't in my time. I don't remember the icebox. If you go back to that time though, and include the icebox, a lot of women would tell you uh the instant foods, like the all the stuff, the processed foods that we against now, at the time that was sold to them as convenience. That used to watch, but see back then, the Knicks, when I first got the color TV, we talking about like shit. King and Animal Bannister might have still. We talking about, Rory Sparrow, Trick Tucker, uh, Michael Ray, Michael Ray Richardson. In those times, it wasn't the Pat Ewing era yet. Yeah, right. West Coast. That's what I'm saying. A lot of the stuff that we be talking about now, uh, a lot of stuff that we be talking about now about the food that's not healthy, is processed, they got too much sugar and all stuff like that. Uh, Bernard, remember, Bernard got traded for Michael Ray. So yeah, now the Bernard era, oh man, we didn't even care if we lost when Bernard was here. Listen, we didn't even care if we lost. Bernard got 40. But yeah, those foods that we talking about, I mean, we would have to, if include it with the refrigerator, because all of that kind of went together. Is that because you don't got a refrigerator, you can't be saving stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So the people is eating healthier, and then even the stuff that you are like, back then people used to make a lot of stuff because you get the crop at one time, right? You get the crop at one time, in the fall when you gotta harvest your crop, right? So how do you preserve this stuff? You know what I mean? That's what they making all the apple ciders and all this different stuff to preserve the what's in it. You understand what I mean? So, it's always these stuff around, but like you said, it's healthier because it's coming from natural stuff. You know what I mean? So, in the days where a woman is there and she's making her own pie crust, she's chopping up the apples and everything with her hand to make the apple pie or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Those, Duncan Hines and this kind of stuff was the beginning of the end for us dietarily. There's always been scurvy and stuff like that, malnutrition. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think, of course, food is the biggest thing that's going to affect your health. You know what I'm saying? It's the biggest thing, the most thing that you're taking into the body. You know what I'm saying? So of course, people back then was affected by what they was eating. You know what I'm saying? But people back then is returning from diseases because there's no penicillin. People not this type of 1,000 little cancers and shit. That isn't really, you know what I'm saying? I haven't researched it personally, you know what I mean? But, one thing that I heard is that at one time, there was only 8 kinds of cancers. And that those 8 cancers is actually curable. Like they found solutions for those. And that all of this new stuff that's out now started popping up with the processed food. So even right now, right, when we dealing with this, the pandemic, right? Who is affected? The people with the underlying conditions. How do people get the underlying conditions? That processed food. L7, got IT. Yeah. Well, we was talking about different inventions and the impact, household inventions and the impact that they had on life. You know what I'm saying? And so the ice box was brought up, the refrigerator, you know what I'm saying? And then I mentioned processed foods. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the impact that that's had on, our lives since the uh, World War II and these MREs became made for civil society. But like, I don't think, uh, you know, like somebody said, I don't, say live in the bush, but people who is not a part of these modern societies, I don't think they be having like high blood pressure and diabetes and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't never see no pygmies all swole the fuck up and shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen. Not saying it don't exist, but I ain't never seen. Now, the boy said, yeah, carcinogens, yeah, processed food and the stuff they spray the fruits of the year. Right? Complete God of law. This is why we eat to live and not live to eat. So, but yeah, I don't think we can even end this conversation. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that go into where we are right now. But at any rate, if you made it this far in the live through the Each One Teach One, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We got into a little bit of more freestyling at the end. Go back, make sure you listen to the beginning where we discussed living in the first days and times, as well as living in the last days and times, and what the difference is. And other than that, we're back in here tomorrow at 7:00. Chief said coal burning stoves, gas stove, electric stove took the wood ashes out of the garden and no longer mix with our soil. That is a fact. We put ashes in the garden out here. But at any rate, peace to the gods, the earths, all of our people that come in here and check us and build with us. You know what I'm saying? And see y'all tomorrow. Peace.